Well, good evening to everyone. Welcome. Thank you very much for attending this evening, and I'm sure lots more are still going to be joining us for the evening. So let me inform you a little bit about the procedure for the evening. At the end of the presentation by our special guest, the system will automatically generate an email to you, and it will send you a thank you email. It will send you your certificate of attendance, a link to give feedback, and also a link to the recording, because this webinar is being recorded. So let me tell you a little about David Gilbey. David Gilbey is a world-class independent architectural lighting and visual designer. He's independent, and that makes it special. He was trained as a theatrical lighting designer. That's his background. He's in a great position to have all the artistic flair for lighting design and, of course, all aspects of projects. He always takes a holistic approach to his lighting design. And his DNA is one of storytelling approach to lighting design. To capture the soul of the project, and he has worked on world-class award-winning projects around the world. He's a renowned international speaker on the subject of lighting, and he believes firmly in the fact that lighting designers have a responsibility to stimulate design conversation with architects and other stakeholders in the project. He also believes it's important to share knowledge, just as he will be doing this evening. Because we have to feed a growing army of future lighting talent. Equally, we have to feed existing lighting talent because of all the new technologies around us. His other philosophy is that you have to enjoy what you're doing. You have to always do it with a smile and display of your passion, because that's your hidden catalyst to make the magic happen. David is the founder and the creator of D-Lighting, and for a period he was the lighting design director at the Riyadh Gate Development Authority in Riyadh, which was a huge development of cultural and historic importance. To David, we welcome you as our very special friend of that we get on so well together. We have so many natters, and a special guest presenter for this evening. I've told you about David the Maestro. So without further ado, I hand over to David. Thank you, David.
Brilliant. Thank you. Hopefully everybody can see that. Hi, guys. This is lighting for tomorrow. I'm going to start off with a quick, funny story. Slides aren't moving, Phil.
It's moved.
Okay.
It might just be slow on your screen.
Okay, perfect. So I'm going to start off with a title called Legend, because I first gave this presentation, or a version of it, at Saudi Light and Sound as the keynote speaker. And my CV says keynote speaker at Saudi Light and Sound, which is the entertainment show. for Saudi Arabia. But Kurt Vermeulen, the legend that is Kurt Vermeulen, was meant to be the keynote speaker. And unfortunately, he couldn't make it. And Kurt has a great array of augmented reality and immersive projects. And so I said to them when I stepped in at very short notice, so that about, I don't know, 60 hours notice, I said, look, I can't do Kurt's presentation. I'll do one of my own and I'll weave some of Kurt's work into it. And then I spoke with Kurt, and that's when the bug hit me. And so what you have is my interpretation of Lighting for Tomorrow, which is probably much different from Kurt's. But I look at Lighting for Tomorrow and I look at lighting for a better world. Sorry, I'm on a time lag. So this present moment used to be the unimaginable future. If you can imagine back in the 50s with incandescent light, you know, what we can do now with digital control and color just wouldn't have been even in your dream if you're a lighting designer back in the day. I can still remember in the theatre color gels and being up in the ladder changing filters. So I'm showing my age there a little bit. And for me, Lighting for Tomorrow is about a better understanding. And that is a holistic approach to lighting. It's a holistic approach to how we create better spaces. And I'll start off with George Clooney. Now, George Clooney's in this presentation because this is from the film Gravity, and it was inspiration to me. Because if you notice at the top of George Clooney's mask, there's this scallop of earth reflected in his mask. And it's because it's the first film where instead of putting a little light on Sandra Bullock and George Clooney's face, they used the reflection of the media screen image of earth to light the actors. Now, I use that as direct inspiration on the entrance to Smash, which is virtual reality, augmented reality sports centers across India. Now, I know here, I on this project, I had a $250,000 for media screens, budget for media screens and projection. I had next to nothing for ambient lighting. I accept that my media screen is going to give me a light level. I can't measure it because the content changes, but I can use joined up thinking not to overlight that space. We can do exactly the same in the outdoor world. This is the Crown Fountain in Chicago. And what I like about this is the collaboration between the light artist and the local council, that we haven't flooded the area with light, and that would diminish the quality of the art. This is my world. Welcome to my world, guys. Arriving in Dubai in the middle of the night. And I see this, quite often, the next time I arrive, I'm arriving at 11 o'clock at night. I arrive at 5 o'clock in the morning. And I have this saturation of blue-white light that's sort of inhibiting my melatonin and encouraging dopamines. And, you know, it's so hard to get to sleep when you get to the hotel. And this isn't my work, but it's a hotel project I worked on in Mumbai, the Chhatrapati Shivaji Mumbai International Airport. And this was done by Howard Branston. And this is like a hug and a kiss from India when you arrive in the middle of the night. All of the light is where you want it on the baggage carousels. This is responsible design, guys. Just waiting for the next image to come up. Sorry, I've got a time lag at my end. We see this so many times. This is an area called Venili in Milan. It's a beautiful canal network to bring water into Milan, designed by Da Vinci. And you notice now this media screen on the left-hand side that's overlighting the space. It has no purpose there. You know, if it's Times Square, yes. In Finland, in Helsinki, they have a huge problem with media screens popping up everywhere. They're becoming visually disturbing. I've seen it all over the world. We need to be more holistic and more sympathetic in our approach to design. What I love about this is St. Erik's Eye Hospital in Stockholm. And the art piece that you're looking at in front of you has been designed for visually impaired people. Now you look at it and it's fabulous. My eyes are okay. I love it. And at the same time, I apologize for the time lag, guys. At the same time, you've got the curved light emphasizing the curve. You've got contrast. You've got perfect light. And the joy of inclusive design is it works just as well for people that can see as for people that are visually impaired. So why don't we design all spaces for the visually impaired? There is nothing wrong whatsoever with this corridor, but you can see with the visual clues going down it, it's a corridor that anyone can use. Talk amongst yourselves. Better understanding of dark skies. I don't know how many among you have, this is our urban nightscape now. This is Dubai. It could be anyway. But I don't know how many of you have seen the Milky Way. I was lucky to own a house in the mountains in Italy, so I've seen this, and it's quite something to behold. And there's a much better understanding of dark skies now. Once upon a time, I do a lot of work across the Middle East. I would have had trouble having conversations like this with my clients, but I was recently at a dark sky event in Dubai, and we had someone from the municipality of Dubai there. We had someone from the municipality of Abu Dhabi. So all around the world, we're waking up to trying to design for better skies. Responsible design. It seems almost, I don't know, a buzzword nowadays, but I've not, from day one, I've not had light pollution on my projects. It's something as responsible designers that we have to take care of. And this is your typical city. I have fond memories of driving up from Puglia in Italy and seeing the reflected loom of light from Foggia before we got anywhere near the city. It's something. But we can design cities. This is actually Cape Town, Phil. And I'm very pleased to see that we can design cities with the light that we need to navigate around the city, purposeful light, and still have our dark skies. And it's not difficult, guys. It's about where, how we control light, where we put light, no light above the vertical. And I mean, it's quite funny. If you look at Mosterdam, which is the responsible light regulation in Saudi Arabia, they say, don't use uplights, no uplight whatsoever. But as a lighting designer, I know that I can use uplight and control uplight. So for me, it's more about responsible design than accepting that we have to work within the norms, standards and regulations around the world. I love this. I love that we're still delineating the form of this building, and yet most of the perimeter lighting is coming from the inside, and that the curve there just to the center right is sort of uplit and very well controlled. I love here that how we've almost created an artificial sky by uplighting the under canopy. Create something quite visually dramatic, but very controlled lighting at the same time. So I want to see lighting for tomorrow respecting. I swear I'm pressing buttons here. Guys, if I know who the designer is, I'll give them credit. This is Skira Dean. This is in Croatia. And for me, this has got a sense of the dramatic, the sense of the historical. It's absolutely respectful in its storytelling of the past, putting this project in place, in time, and culturally important. This is the Rockheim Museum in Sweden, and I love how we can mix the old and the new if we do it in a respectful way. I love how we can use projection techniques now to create, I don't know, respectful moments in time to celebrate. And that we don't have to get the projection out. We can, you know, we can do it just with good old fashioned white light. I love how we can use our buildings as almost projection screens. You know, this is celebration of Lebanon when the harbour exploded and we had a huge disaster there. And it's nice to see communities and other worlds standing in unity, fraternity, brotherhood with other nations. This is an interesting one coming up. This is projection on Sydney Opera House. And I love the cultural aspect of this projection. Myself, and I accept that lighting is subjective. I'm not so keen on it when it's used for advertising the horse racing. But it's really something, when I was looking into this the other day, there was an architect said, well, it's not painted. No one's painted it like this. It's just projection. It'd be gone in a couple of days. So I don't know, maybe the jury's out, but personally, I much prefer the former to, you know, advertising the Melbourne Cup on an architectural wonder. I love, and this is how we should use lighting to enhance, to improve our environments, to take something like a cooling tower and turn it into something that engages with the community. And we should be looking to do this on, you know, all of our infrastructure. We can make it talk to us. We can tell stories with it. We can create local landmarks and waypoints and something that people can be proud of. This is Al Chiraif at the RIA, where I was lighting design director, and I love how we can totally respect and take you back through the ages and almost create a hierarchy of buildings. And the whole lighting is evocative of, you know, the fact that lanterns and fires were the lighting of the past age. Even there, I had to light a performance. They do the Ardar dances, which is the spirit of Naji, which is the style of architecture. They do it in front of it, and I lit it. And so, accepting that it was going to be televised, you know, I put a white light level on the front of the dancers for the cameras, and my lighting around it was as if they're dancing around a fire. Whatever we do, we can just be holistic. Lighting for tomorrow should be responsible. Lighting for today, lighting for yesterday should be responsible. But going forward, with the control that we have, with the understanding that we have, it should definitely be responsible. This is one of my projects. This is the IQL Pavilion in Stratford. And really simple thing, guys, responsible design. I had the facade, someone else had the landscape and the urban realm around it. I picked up the phone. Guys. It's not difficult. I did a building in front of Marble Arch that joined with a new Raphael Vanelli building. I wanted to make sure the interface wasn't a mess. I wanted to make sure there was some synergy. I picked up the phone. This also highlights to me some of the lip service that's done in the name of sustainability. I believe in sustainability in all of its virtues, but this building has a bat box on the back of it for flying mammals, and they get a Brian point, probably get a lead point as well for putting a bat box on the back of their building. No self-respecting VAT is going to move into that bat box because we haven't controlled the lighting around it. So to me, it's just academic. I want to see real joined up thinking in design. Just about anyone that's worked in Dubai has had a turn at Dubai Mall. And here we had an entrance that was almost a secret entrance to it. And here's appropriate use of a media screen. But one of the other things that we did within the shopping centre is that we reduced energy by 70% while raising light levels by 25% just by changing that area to LED lighting. Responsible use of colour. This is a shopping centre in Czechoslovakia. And we're using colour to delineate. It's a big car park inside this place, and it's zoned blue and green. And as you turn left and go into the car park, we carry on this blue and green themed light, just using it to help delineate space, not just for colour. This is the Salzburg Bridge in Stockholm, the world's longest pedestrian bridge. This one was done by Kai Pipo. And you can see here that there's actually a collaboration between lighting designers and ecologists, because in the reservoir next to this pedestrian bridge, you have migrating birds, and the bridge changes colour depending on the season of the birds. So when they're all living fine and feeding, it's one colour. When they're breeding, it's one colour. Raising chicks, another. But what I love about this as well is, the control of the light. Very little light pollution coming from this bridge, coming from this structure. There's 5 main concerns for me, and lighting for tomorrow, lighting for today, lighting for yesterday. This is our responsibility and always has been. We've got 5 main responsibilities when we light the outside of a building. Make it look good from far away. As far as I'm concerned, that's the easy bit. Make the up-close experience, the approach experience look good. Contrast, context, how it sits with the buildings around it. Create local landmarks and waypoints. And the 5th is all the sustainable ones. Easy to install, ergonomic, no light pollution, energy efficient, careful what we light. And so often we use dots and lines without any context. But here we're using them as constellations, as shooting stars, the diagonal line. Be careful what we light. We don't have to treat buildings like Lego bricks. This is a Langham Hotel in Qatar, and this was our Umeya. This was our scheme for it. We've almost softened this building. We've made it look more orchid-like by choosing what we light. The color is the color of the sunrise across the Arabian Gulf that it faces. Just what we light and what we don't light. Be responsible. This is a Michael Grubb studio, and I'm a big fan of Michael. And quite often, what he does is he won't conform. He'll use light. Here. You don't necessarily have the light levels, but you have so much light on the vertical. You have the perception of light. So it's that understanding light. And he had to write a letter to the client taking responsibility for this design because technically it doesn't conform, but it's very, very visual, and that's quite often what we're doing. This is a big bugbear of mine. As lighting design director of Daria, I had to judge a lot of lighting designers' work, and this is my work. This is the Terracotta Warriors at the British Museum, and they'd have a museum space, and I say, "Come on, guys, where's the design? Where's the flexibility?" And they would say to me, "We don't know what's going in the museum." Guys, that's no excuse. We know what could go in the museum. We plan for everything. We plan for flexibility. It's not our job to put the electrical connections in the middle of the floor so that if there's a light box or a light art piece in the middle, we've got power to it and we don't have to run a cable from the side. But the engineer isn't necessarily going to think of it. It's our job to be part of that design team. It's our job to drive that discussion. Again, Michael Grubb's studio. I love the use of color here as contrast and how he makes this entrance pop. Responsible use of color. And now we're getting into, I don't know, where lighting has such a huge part to play it has a huge part to play everywhere in the hospitality world, in the whole visual environment. But in the office world, I mean, this is a meeting room and it's not lit like a typical office. And this is the way offices are going. And if you've been lucky enough to work, this is Google and Boland's Key, to work on sort of a Google type project, they're not going to look like your typical office. And I've been lucky to work on 2 Googles. And they create, nowadays in office design, you've got areas that are inspiring, areas that are contemplative, areas where you come together as a team and just let the creative juices flow, areas where you just sit alone at your desk and lock yourself in. And it's not just 500 lux on an office table these days, not to mention all the things that inspire us, like biophilia and other things that we'll come on to later on in the presentation. Even into sort of atrium and entrance spaces now, we have so many what we call active lobbies with bleacher stairs that become like areas for presentations or movies or theatre or art. And I was working on another building in Stratford and it had an active lobby, and this wonderful value engineering was happening. And I had to say to them, guys, if you value engineer this anymore, you're going to have to stop calling it active lobby and just call it lobby. And again, this is Al Kursal in Dubai. Again, something I had involvement in. And totally flexible art gallery. Whatever they do in this space, we've got the means of doing it. So we come to well-being, such an important part of lighting. We've known for a long time about light nutrition, the vitamin D that we get from the sun. And they realized even back in sort of the 30s and the 40s, when they were still sending 13-year-olds down the mines where there were no exposure to natural daylight, that they would get ill, and we could make them well with light. And light in physiology, we often think of that light is vitamin D, but it's energy, it's controls our movement and our transport, repair and detoxification, our whole molecular synthesis and hormonal control, not to mention our circadian rhythms. And we've realized as well the importance of biophilia, of including greenery and getting natural daylight into the space. And people just assume that biophilia is greenery. And I've done a lot of research on and a lot of lighting of green walls and light and greenery, and did some research on it at the UCL Bartlett. And it's really funny to talk with lighting designers just how much light you need to keep that tree alive. And everyone assumes that it's 50,000 lux plus because they're thinking in terms of daylight. It's a lot less. Anyone that wants to DM me, I can give you more information on that. The other interesting thing here is that plants have a circadian rhythm too. Look, plants need a daylight sample. One of the things I love about biophilia is how the psychological affects the physiological. So you're in a hospital ward where you get daylight and you look over greenery and you just feel well in yourself. Psychologically, you feel better. Well, it's researched that they dispense less pain medication, that people actually get well quicker. So feeling better helps you get well. I love that. And, you know, in any avenue where they use this, in hospitality, if you have biophilia, you get better occupancy rates, you can charge more. In the office place, get higher productivity, less absenteeism. And like I say, people assume it's just the plants, but it's daylight. And what I like here, I was recently in Stockholm, and the swee green in the bottom right hand image, I was in a supermarket, just we were getting something for breakfast, and they grow salad in the supermarket. I mean, this is more fluence than biophilia, but guys, it's the way it's headed. And I got the artwork at Mumbai International Airport, but in the end, I ended up keeping the plants alive as well. And that's where my research came about, because in any other avenue of design, I'm holistic, I'm a responsible designer. But back in the day, when I was given plants, I became sort of, I don't know, blinkered, keep the plants alive, keep the plants alive. So I lit them at the daylight end of the spectrum, and you can still keep them alive if you light warmer and they look better. This is, you should look at this project, do a study of it. It's at Cambridge Mosque. And biophilia, this is the use of the natural materials is almost architecture you want to hug. And this is the same inside and out. And then the lighting has to be right so that it's in harmony with the architecture. I love now how we're mixing this. We're mixing media and we're mixing green walls. Fabulous. I love, you know, if this is an educational space, you're not just getting daylight, but you're getting controlled daylight. You're getting this wonderful color palette that's going to be quite inspiring and, you know, push you. It's a place where you need to feel, I don't know, receptive, inspired, creative. Really interesting one. I had a row with the lighting designer over this one. This is Tokyo Metro, where they've put blue light to reduce suicides. Now, it's an interesting thing. He said to me, blue light never makes you relaxed. And when you're talking physiologically, he's right. It, you know, suppresses melatonin and increases your dopamine. But obviously on a psychological level, it does, because so it's this business at what thing, and it's the same with red, which, you know, can be very relaxing, but at the same time can create a fight or flight reaction in this. So that psychological versus physiological argument and understanding it. We can communicate with light. I love this, guys. In the middle of a roundabout in Canary Wharf, it's a light art piece that goes red, amber, green, red, amber, green. One of my favorite light art pieces. It's in the middle of a roundabout at a busy road intersection. I have seen cars physically jump on the brakes because they don't know whether to stop or whether to go. Another interesting thing with light and communication is what we see from our front vision goes to our front brain, and this is the part that makes us tired. But we have the peripheral vision, and we can send subliminal messages to that part that goes directly to the subconscious and doesn't tire us. So it's a way of communicating with light. I love how Snow Heta here at a metro station in Riyadh are communicating what's going on inside the station and what's going on outside. And they're using a big reflective dome to do that. So on the outside, you can see in, and on the inside, you can see out. We took a similar approach at Umea with Montalic metro station. We use color for aesthetics. looks great. I think you'll all agree. But we tried to communicate what was going on inside the station. So things are jammed up, red, bottom right-hand corner. Seems okay, perfectly normal. Everything's good to go. You'd go to one above, green. But actually, green's quite a cultural, religious colour there. So it's the colour a lot of the mosque lit. So we used the one on the bottom left-hand corner to it's more like a cyan colour to communicate. I love, this is part of the Metropolitan University in Manchester. It's the School of Digital Art. And what I love here is that the students themselves write the code and change the building so it communicates in many different ways. I'm going to take a quick pause here for wisdom, guys. Creativity, easy for me to say, is thinking up new things. Innovation is doing new things. Just like the plant a little few seeds as we go. Connecting with light. That's something that we should do with Lighting for Tomorrow. This is Alula. You can see how the art works so well with the natural surrounds. This is a piece called Earth that was in the new light show in Riyadh. But, you know, you just get this real earthly connection with it. This is Olaf Lyson's The Sun, which I saw at the Tate Gallery in London, and I wasn't actually going there to see it. I was going there for a meeting on a lighting project. But what was really interesting to see was people actually sunbathing below it. Total connection. This is Waterlicht by Dan Rosengard, and it was first done in Rotterdam to highlight that Rotterdam's below the sea level and the threat of flooding. And he's since done it in various cities, including Riyadh. But when he did it in Toronto, people brought their towels out and sort of almost surfed below it. I love, and we're sneaking into augmented reality here. We will come to the bells, whistles of Lighting for Tomorrow. But I love how we can create environments that we get with immersive experiences. We can make art where we can put ourselves right back in olden times, but then put some graffiti in it as well at the same time. This is inside the Guinness factory. It's the ingredient room, almost storytelling at the same time. And, you know, communicating is obviously something that's done every day in the theatre, but we have the technology, but we can do this across all theatres. Light art is coming everywhere we go now. I love how football stadiums have become cathedrals of dreams now. They're just amazing spaces. I was lucky to be involved. I haven't got an image up here on the Al Bayt Stadium and the Qatar World Cup, and just Lighting for Tomorrow and Design for Tomorrow had a foot back in the past because they were using the old ways, directions of the winds over watercourses to use as natural air conditioning. It's all relevant, guys. You know, that designing for tomorrow, but where it's important, keeping one foot in the past. So we come to augmented reality and virtual reality. And virtual reality is always going to be a more personal experience. Usually you've got one of these masks on you. And what's really interesting is the speed of communication now, the way we're going to work in offices. We're soon going to be walking down the road with classes where we've got instructions coming to us, the little computer screens at the same time. But augmented reality is where we use technology to change the environment around us. And, you know, obviously it's great for theatre, but it's great in stadiums. You know, think of, you know, the opening of an Olympics or an Asian Games or something of that nature. And even in theatre now, you can put yourself inside Smaug in The Hobbit and be right there with a dragon in a fiery mountain. Really immersive, really inside. the experience. But it can also be quite simple. This is one that I did. This is Smash. You saw the entrance in Hyderabad. And this is an augmented reality cricket game. So you see the world's top bowlers run up and bowl, and there's a machine behind that replicates their bowling. And when we got involved in Smash, to see the video screen, they used to have an area of darkness. So you'd lose the ball for half a second, which didn't help when you were facing a fast bowler. And we managed to take light all the way down the cricket green. AI, guys, in my opinion, it's a tool. It's a very useful tool. And it's a brainstorming tool. It's get some ideas tool. But I'm going to talk about the pros and cons of AI. I mean, you can do anything with it. You know, you can create this like futuristic world. Is that a world you want to live in? But AI can knock that up in seconds. It's a great landscape architect. I encourage you to follow. His name's Waleed Shalan. And at Alula, he used AI with some of their landscapes, just to play with ideas. But this is a project, I can't name this one. I've signed an NDA that I'm working on at the moment. And this is a totally AI generated image. There's no reality in light in there. And I would see this a lot at the rear, where I'd have AI generated CGIs that weren't realistic. And in some parts of the world, the Middle East especially, those CGIs are done a concept stage, and they are almost like a photorealistic. That's what the royal family, that's what the CEO of the project, that's what he expects to see. Now, if you take a look at this one, it's the same project as the previous one. There's light in the foreground, but there's no bollards. There's no, once you put the light in infrastructure, at the rear, we had the Digital Art Museum, and we had these beautiful projected images of the walls, but know where the projectors are going to go. And I can actually show this one. This is the arena at the rear. And again, this is a totally CGI'd image, and it's been approved. And achieving that exact look is going to be difficult, guys. It's going to be very difficult. And that is the problem as far as I'm concerned with AI. It needs to be curated. It needs to be in the hands of the master. We should do far more storytelling. But I'm going to take a quick pause for wisdom. And I apologize if we've got any architects or interior designers. I am saying this tongue in cheek. Don't do the lighting. Notice I paused there. Storytelling in architecture, in everything that we do, has gone through the roof. This is Snowhetter's Bibliotheca Library in Alexandria, and there's stories etched on the outside of the building. This is Stephen Hull's Museum of the Oceans and Surf in Biarritz. And you can see there the buildings almost surfing out of the landscape and out of the surroundings. And we have to raise our level of storytelling. We have to be as comfortable as architecture and visual designers. We have to be as comfortable with media screens, projection, kinetic light and effects to tell the story, because we have these immersive experiences now. You don't just go and see a Van Gogh painting, you stand inside it. You stand inside a Klimt painting. Here, just everything about it, the walls, the flooring, if you sit on those chairs, you're totally inside the experience of art. I heard a wonderful expression about art. We don't have to like every piece of art that we see, but when you find a piece of art you like, lean in. It's like that wisdom. I love the simple storytelling of this. This is what the British one Museum in London, and they're doing a Charlie Chaplin exhibition, and using the visual contrast of about 50 really emphasises Charlie Chaplin and the black and whiteness of the images and the black and whiteness of the movie. This is in Rome. They created a theatre where they tell the story of Michelangelo, and in the end, they projection map with 32 projectors bit mapped together. They projection map. Just mic's off. You're putting your mic's on. Apparently, I've got sound problems. I'll hold the mic here. They bitmapped the Sistine Chapel onto the roof of the theatre. Now, when you think about it, it's a rectangular room, and they projected a curved ceiling, so quite dramatic. This is the Ari ski slope in Sweden, where they tell the story. This again is Kai Pipo, where they tell the story of giants and trolls in the mountains. And the traditional ski slopes are lit in white. Think about it. You know, you in winter you almost have 24 hours of darkness in such northern latitudes. And on the left, we've got the illuminated in colour ski slope. And if you imagine, guys, light and sound together, wolves howling to tell the story. Quite dramatic. Introduce skiing to a whole new populace, much younger, and increase skiing revenues by 25%. One of mine, High Cross Shopping Centre in Leicester. And here the story is the textile industry. So we have some laser cut shapes and some color changing light behind it, and it's to represent cloth. Could be your shirt, could be my shirt. Not my shirt today, but you get the message. Just going back very quickly, this project proves to me that the limiter to creativity is not the budget. The limiter to creativity are the ideas. This was a very inexpensive project. Steel mesh, laser cut shapes, a little bit of coloured light behind, and yet we have something quite dramatic. The happiness factor. The 3D Moment Factory 3D projector mapped on the Sagrada de Familia, Gaudi's unfinished cathedral in Barcelona, and the faces of the people looking up. You know, you can really engage with light, and this is what we should be doing more of in the lighting of tomorrow. And look at the face of that kid. That's on the Ari ski slope, mouth dropped open. That's a candid photo, guys, not posed. Light art festivals all around the world. See how the people engaged, how happy they are. They're right in there amongst the art. Who doesn't like an illuminated slinky? This is actually inclusive design. These are swings that are illuminated, and as you swing, they play music. But again, these people don't look like they're visually challenged. They just look like normal people engaging with light, engaging with sound. This is Canary Wharf's winter lights, and these illuminated benches, light art pieces, just became meeting places. I watch people sitting there, talk, smile, laugh, take pictures. Final pause for wisdom, and this is one of mine. Lighting designers, the light artist too. Now, I'm going to give you an example. I've done a lot of light art on projects, but I love light art jellyfish. I would put a jellyfish on every project, whether it was a bank, whether it was a hotel. If I had my way, I'd put a light art jellyfish. There's no context, guys. So my light art has always been around the project. So when I lit Jindal stainless steel in Delhi, the light art was with stainless steel. So I am the leader of Team Jellyfish. one day, guys, and I know I've got, I'm going to be curating a light art show in a couple of years' time. And I've got to tell you, there's going to be the mother of all light art jellyfish. And anyone that wants to contribute to Team Jellyfish is welcome to join the team. The lighting for tomorrow, in my opinion, we need more jellyfish. Thank you, guys. Think light. It's always an absolute pleasure.
Thanks, David.
Very proud to do anything. Proud of my association with BHA.
Those are our contact details. If any of you would like to contact us, you can contact us through the website at any time. You're always very welcome. Once again, our sincere thanks go to you, David, for your inspirational presentation this evening. And also thank you to all those who attended. Thank you very much. We appreciate you giving your time out of your busy schedule. And we look forward to you spending more time with us. In the future, we have international presenters for the rest of this year, right through to December. Our webinars are advertised on LinkedIn as well as on our website. So you can always see that. And if you're on our mailing list, you'll be notified as well. All right. So thank you very much. Have a very pleasant evening. David, you and Angela go off and have a nice glass of wine and relax. You've done your work for the day. And to all of you, I say good evening, and we look forward to seeing you again.